Good day. We are the Presenter 7 and our report is all about planning the interview. The group members of Presenter 7 are as follows: Alayon, Eva, Gomera, and Liena.
Lesson objectives. At the end of this lesson, the student should be able to distinguish how to prepare for an interview, identify actions before an interview, identify common interview questions and questions that cannot be asked, identify useful interview tips, discuss ways how to prepare on the day of the interview, learn how to act after an interview, and lastly, learn how to act after feedback.
Being invited to an interview means that your application must have made a good impression. So what is an interview? An interview is a discussion between you and an employer to find out if you can do the job. You need to prepare yourself for the interview to make sure that you are successful. So what are the things we need to consider in planning an interview? So we need a plan for us to prepare how we should act in an interview. A good interview plan identifies the major milestones for before, during, and after your interviews. Preparing for an interview primarily means taking time to thoughtfully consider your goals and qualifications relative to the position and employer.
Before your interview, research the company. If you are invited to an interview, you should do some research so that you can answer any question on the company. So, research the company. For us, we can easily answer their questions about their company and have a background of it. You could contact the company to ask for information pack or have a look at their website. If you have an interview, you need a information to their company, and kung wala ka information sa ila company, look their website, at kung may pamangkot sa ila company, you need to ask the employer. You should find out the following information about the employer: what they do, make, or sell, who are their customers, what sort of the organization are they, what is the job likely to involve, how can you best fit your skills to match the job. So these are the information you need to find out about their company or their questions.
Plan for an interview. Find out what the interview will involve to make sure you're prepared. Number 1. If you have this ability, all employers must make reasonable adjustment for you to have an interview. If you need the employer to make particular arrangement, for example, to help you get into the building, contact them before your interview to make sure they can make this arrangement. So, if you have this ability, or let's say, for example, you can't walk because you have injury or what, you should inform or contact the employer so that they can make arrangement or assist you, but of course, you should inform them before your interview. Number 2, if you can find out the length of the interview, it will give you an idea of how detailed it is likely to be. You also need to find out if you will have to take a test or make a presentation. So, you should be prepared always. In your interview, you should know if what you are going to do there. Number 3, think about who will be interviewing you. If it's the person who would be your manager if you get the job, the interview may be more detailed. If it's the personal manager, the interview may be less detailed but could still be as testing. So, in your interview, you should know who will be interviewing you, if it's the manager or what, so that it would give you an idea if it's more detailed or not. But whoever interviewing you, still you should be prepared no matter what. And lastly, find out how many people will be interviewing you and their position in the company. This will help you to prepare for the kind of questions they may ask. So, as what I've said, you should know who will be interviewing you or how many they are in order for you to be prepared a lot to their questions.
Plan your journey. Consider traveling to the company the day before the interview to check how long the journey will take if necessary. Ask the employer for direction, bus routes, or details of where you can park your car. You should always plan another way of getting there in case something unexpected happens, such as accident or train cancelled. So, we need to plan our journey if ever where we go to double and also double check in case of trouble happens.
So why it is important to create the right image for an interview? So deciding what to wear for the interview will depend on what sort of work you will be doing. Smart dress would generally be suitable, so it makes you presentable. So aim for a neat, clean, and tidy appearance. If you look good, it will help you feel good.
Gather the information you need at the interview. Your invitation to interview should tell you everything you need to bring with you, such as references, exam certificates, and driving license. So, these are the things you need to bring with you. One is the references. So, references is the last part of your resume. So, as three people, you need to comply with references nang ask them if willing sila mag-ibutang mo sila sa references mo. For example, is your teacher. Second one is your exam certificate. So, you need to bring your exam certificates. And another one is the driving license. So, driving license. So, ang imo be job is a driver. You need to have a driving license kay para may kabalo sila nga may background ka sa pagiging driver. Remember to take a copy of your CV and application form to refer to, prepare notes or cue cards to help you if you think you might need a prompt during the interview. CV is abbreviation of curriculum vitae. If your job advertisement asks for a CV, that's hint that the employer expects a great deal of life experience and accomplishment, including education. So, always be ready at the time because nang di ka kabalo nga basi impromptu ang imo nga interview. So, always be prepared. So, the last one is the job advert to refresh your memory and to make sure you haven't missed anything.
We all know that the interview is a discussion between the job seeker and the employer. There are lots of job interview questions, but I will be discussing only 15 common job interview questions. This includes tell me about yourself, why do you want this job, why should we hire you, what are your strengths and weaknesses, what are you looking for in this new position, what is your expected salary, how did you learn about this job, what do you do outside of work, tell me about a time that you faced a challenge, how did you tackle it, what is your biggest accomplishment, is there anything do you think we could do differently? How do you deal with pressure and stressful situation? What can we expect from you in the first 3 months? How do you evaluate success? Do you have any question for us? So here are some examples of interview questions being asked in an interview. If there are questions that can be asked in an interview, there are 5 questions you cannot be asked in an interview. These questions seem innocent but can be considered illegal or offensive. Number 1. Is this your married name? So it is questions about marital status or your spouse are illegal. Number 2. I like your accent. Where are you from? Questions about your place of birth or race are illegal. Number 3. How old are your kids? So any questions about your existing or future kids are illegal. Number 4. Do you smoke? You can't be asked if you smoke or drink. Number 5. Do you belong to any groups outside work? This can lead to disclosure about your religion and political affiliations, which is not something the employer can ask about.
Useful interview tips. First, be punctual. Second, don't sit down until invited or at least until the interview sits down. Don't touch or lean on the interview desk or table. Don't slouch in a chair but do not sit nervously on the edge of it. Show that you can listen, show positive interest by nodding. Look at the interviewer, not round the room or at your feet. Speak clearly. Don't swear or use jargon.
Don't argue with an interview or interrupt the interviewer. Think before you answer questions. Do not answer yes or no. Try to give as much detail as you can, but don't waffle. When we say don't waffle, it is means that don't write or talk a lot of word that is not important or interesting. Be prepared to talk about yourself, your education, hobbies, interests, and special achievement. This gives the employer an opportunity to find out more about you. So your talent, skills, or anything about yourself will help the employer to find or know more about you if you are really suited to a job or work. Be prepared to cope with questions on weak or sensitive areas. Some interviews may appear aggressive or challenge your interest in the job. This will help to test your reaction and degree of interest. Stay calm and polite. So an interview, you should prepare yourself in sensitive or weak question. For example, they asked, why did you leave your last job, your salary requirement, or have you ever been disciplined for violating a company policy? So, all you need to do about this is to plan and practice your answer. Set your feeling aside and speak in an emotionally neutral manner. Do not draw attention to any weakness but be ready with answers which show up your strong points which are relevant to a job. Do not criticize present or past employers. So, don't show them weakness, be yourself, and just answer the question confidently, stick to the point. Towards the end of the interview, you should be given a chance to ask questions. It is reasonable to ask about training, prospect, hours, wage, or further education if they have not been dealt with already.
On the day, you should aim to arrive about 10 minutes before the interview time. If you are delayed, contact the employer as soon as possible to explain, apologize, and arrange another appointment. Before 10 minutes, dapat ara ka na to or early as you can. If you have an emergency, contact na sa employer para maset ya ka naman another appointment. On that day, hindi ta pagamitan ang Filipino time kay if you have an job someday nang basi madala ta sa ulihi. Try to relax and keep calm. Chat to the receptionist or rather greetings you before going into the interview. This will help calm you. Accept that it's natural to be nervous and that you may have a fast heartbeat, clammy hands, and butterflies in your stomach. So, kung nara ka na sa interview, dapat nang relax lang ta always, kag normal lang pagiging nervyos, nga arab lang kadasig sa aton nga heartbeat, kag takos ang clammy hands is gaswat yung aton nga kamot, kag ang butterflies in your stomach arab ba lang nang di ta mabalaan kung anong gasakit sa aton nga tiyan. Remember that the interviewer can be just as nervous as you. It's important to make a good first impression and it will happen in the first few minutes. So, kung ara na gani, dapat in the first place, nang smile ka lang nga daw duwala lang bala nervyos. If you're nervous, your voice may sound shaky and squeezy. Practice deep, slow breathing before you get to the interview. This will slow down your heart rate and help you to avoid taking quick, shallow breaths. So, before nag-start ang interview, nang ma-inhale, exhale ka before it para hindi magkurog-kurog ang imo tingog kung ara na sa interview. So keep calm lang always, kag relax.
After your interview, it is not the end of the world if you are unsuccessful. It doesn't mean you are failure. Employers have a wide range of suitable people to choose from. Look on it as good practice. As more interview go to, the better performance will become. After we interview, we if we fail, don't lose hope. That is the opportunity to correct our wrong to make it perfect. And we need to also to study hard to make it successful in second try.
Hired or not, feedback is very important. If you do not get the job you were interviewed for, you are entitled to ask for feedback from the employer. It may be hard to listen to, but getting some feedback on why an interview didn't go your way can actually be a very positive experience and can help you to make improvements for the next job application or interview. So it is your stepping stone towards success. That's all. Thank you.